look at how much of the world we are at war with. We're basically at war with everyone, which means we're going to take everyone at the end of this war. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're continuing our run with Fascist USA, and we're picking back up exactly where we left the last time. By the way, if you missed the first video, you can find a link to the playlist in the description, so make sure to check it out. Now, the first part of this run was pretty similar to my Democratic USA guide, and it is only by the very end of it that we finally became fascist, the Confederate States of America. But why is being fascist so important? Fascism is, in my opinion, the best ideology in HOI4 if you plan to go for expansion. The main advantages over democracies are the fact that you can fabricate claims on anyone, and that your puppets provide more resources and do not automatically generate autonomy. The main advantage over communism and non-aligned is the speed at which you can fabricate claims, especially while you're at war with a major. Now, that means that fascist countries are also the most suited for a world conquest. In this part of the run, we're going to take care of the Allies and Japan, but in addition to the democratic version of this guide, we are going to expand even more. We're going to take full advantage of these shorter claims and the fact that we can justify on anyone as fascists. Keep in mind that you can find the focuses and the researches in the description of the video, as well as a link to the unedited version. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask in the comments. Finally, if you have been following the channel as usual, and you have been enjoying my content, please do not forget to leave a like and subscribe. It really massively helps the channel grow faster, meaning I can make even more content for you. Now that's really all for the introduction, so it's time to make America even greater than we already did by being fully fascist. Now the first thing that is going to happen is we're going to leave the Allies, but actually it's a bit more fun if we wait a couple of days and the Allies will actually brutally kick us out of the faction, so I'm going to wait for that. Okay, there we go, so the United Kingdom kicked us from the faction. And that's okay. By the way, another thing I realized is that Bulgaria is a member of the Axis. It's actually the only member of the Axis. This may be a little annoying later. We will need to probably go to war to take care of Bulgaria if we go for a full world conquest. In any case, now that we are no longer part of the lovely Allies, it's time to start planning our next moves. And we're going to do that just by justifying on the UK right away. And by the way, this is something we would not have been able to do in the previous run as Democratic USA. Now we can easily justify on other countries, although somehow not on some of them, but soon we'll be able to justify on any country, don't worry, it's just a little bug in the game. Now we want to prepare our fleets, including the new boats that we got from Germany and Italy. We're going to send all of our fleets in here, at least initially. And the main reason is that actually we have a fleet which is strong enough to defeat the Royal Navy should they intercept us. But still, we're going to plan a naval invasion of the UK from this part of Germany because, well, we're already here and this is the fastest way to get there. But of course, we need to worry about defending the mainland too, because the Mexican United States and Canada are part of the Allies, so we will need to defend both our northern border and the southern border against Mexico. We need to build a wall, guys. A wall which in this case will be made of our divisions. It's a human flesh wall against Mexico. And then a human flesh wall against Canada as well. You shouldn't trust Canadians, you know. They look nice, but you never know. Okay, and now we're going to plan the naval invasion. First, I'm going to set our tanks to be ready for the naval invasion, but then we are going to use our marines with groups of 5, because actually we have plenty of time, and we're going for the area of Newcastle. Okay, these are all groups of 5 except for the last one, which is a group of 4. Now, we need to invest a little bit in the Philippines as well, so we're going to build infrastructures and air bases in the Philippines, and we're also going to build railways to connect the supply hubs in here. We're going to use the Philippines later on to fight against Japan. We want this to be the highest priority. We're going to make some changes to some of the designs. First of all, the armor divisions, we want to add 2 more medium tank battalions to make it a combat width of 36. So we're going to do that. We're going to make sure that all of our designs are the most updated ones in terms of MIO. We're going to make some adjustments to trade. We can start already taking advantage of our puppets now. And so for as much as possible, we're going to start importing from the puppets. Of course, very soon we'll not be able to import almost anything while we are at war with the UK, but that's totally fine. And then we're also going to create an agency. This is another advantage of being fascist, by the way. We can create collaboration governments, and that's what we're going to do with these 2 spies in the Soviet Union. So as soon as the agency is formed, we are going to get enough upgrades to get 2 spies, and then we're going to start spying on the Soviet Union. Yeah, this is another weird thing that sometimes happens. Apparently, this game has all of the weird things happening at once. So, Romania at war with Hungary, and then Yugoslavia doing weird stuff. The good thing about Romania is that they joined the Allies, so we're simply going to take them in the peace conference against the Allies. That's great. Bulgaria is actually more annoying in the end. Okay, we got the agency. Let's start getting the upgrades. I suggest you get all of the departments down here, and then maybe a couple of anti-partisan. And when you get this decision, I suggest that you dispatch the Flying Tigers. Oh, right, and as soon as possible, we could actually have done it a little bit earlier. We can pick war economy. Let's start spying on the Soviet Union. Right, where is Kansas? Ah, this is a tough one. I don't know where Kansas is. Here. Oh. Okay, I'm going to start preparing the fleet. As usual, we split them and we create 2 separate theaters. We'll send one in here. I will actually stop training them because I want them to be ready for the invasion. And then we are going to set one on naval invasion support and the other one on strike force. Now we can take advantage of some of these focuses, especially some of these ones are quite good. So we're going down this path. Okay, we got our claim on the UK, so it's time to start the war against the Allies. I would suggest, as usual, making a save. Okay, so everything is ready. We can declare war on the UK. And we can start justifying a claim on Portugal. Now, sometimes this justification disappears for no reason. I still don't understand exactly what happens. But we need to keep an eye on it, just in case there are problems with it. And then we can start our naval invasion. Make sure that all planes are assigned to our marines, though. Except for these stupid ones. If you have enough political power, you can also pick the domestic film industry. Since our war support is a little bit low, we can increase it a bit. Do not worry about trade. There isn't much that we can do about it while at war with the UK. We can just end this war quite fast, so it's not going to be a problem. Okay, the invasion went very smoothly. Now let's prepare them and immediately start the offensive because the UK doesn't have divisions at the moment. So let's take advantage of that and send over our tanks. Okay, let's see what happens with this claim. I'm actually quite curious. So in 2 days we're supposed to get a claim on Portugal. 1 day. That's all good. It's all good. It's there. Okay, sometimes it disappears. I will sound crazy now because it didn't disappear, but trust me, sometimes it disappears. Okay, so war on Portugal. By the way, in the spreadsheet, if you're checking my spreadsheet for my guides, it will say tag these countries. Tagging them simply means you declare war on them and then you ignore them completely. And they will be part of the peace conference. That's our primary goal. So we want to do that with Portugal, with Yugoslavia. Yeah, normally with Yugoslavia, but not in this case because they are part of the Chinese United Front, so we cannot take Yugoslavia. So we're going to do it with Iraq and Iran. One at a time, by the way, otherwise the timing for war goals increases too much. Alright, the UK is down. Let's get ready for D-Day number 2. Taking care of France. Okay, something like this, all groups of 3. Of course, we need to prepare our fleet for that as well. Okay, our naval invasion is ready, so let's go with naval invasion support and strike force again, and let's start the D-Day number 2. And D-Day number 2 should be even easier than D-Day number 1. Now we're going to send over our tanks, and I'm going to use tanks to quickly take care of Belgium and the Netherlands. It is not necessary, but I think we get more points in the peace conference, and actually this is going to be a massive peace conference, because look at how much of the world we are at war with. We're basically at war with everyone, which means we're going to take everyone at the end of this war. Okay, so with Marines you can just push. While with tanks we go for a more precise and aimed push against Belgium and then the Netherlands. Okay, so we are going to declare war on Iraq, and we are going to start justifying on Iran. Now, France doesn't capitulate as fast as they do in the usual World War II, but they still capitulate pretty fast, so we need to keep an eye on them, because we want to fabricate our claims before ending the war. The most important one will be a claim on Spain, but we just need to start it. We don't need to finish it before finishing the war. And then, as I said, the goal would be Portugal, Yugoslavia, Iraq, and Iran. Iran, we should be almost done. Yeah, only 4 days. Yugoslavia we cannot take, so I guess we have a free claim at this point. We can claim someone else instead of Yugoslavia. We need to decide whom. It doesn't matter that much, I guess, but maybe Greece or Ireland, something like that. Okay, we got the claim on Iran. I think we're going for Ireland because it's only going to take 10 days, so this is a fast one. It's probably the best option. Yeah, that's good. Second spy. Let's get the collaboration government in the Soviet Union, so quiet intel network. And prepare the collaboration government. Also, we'll stop these offensives because we don't want France to capitulate yet. And they might. And of course, if you get free civilian factories, you can just build more military factories everywhere. But from this point onward, I will not mention it anymore. It's just free. Okay, we got the claim on Ireland, so let's get Ireland. And then we start justifying a claim on Spain. We don't need to finish this one before ending the war, but we do need Ireland to join the allies. Okay, they did it quite fast. So at this point we can just rush the last victory points remaining to end the war. Okay, the war is over. We took, or we can take from now on a large part of the world. And ideally, I think we should have enough points for everything. So now I will skip the peace conference for you, of course, because this is a quite massive one. But our goal is to puppet everything and take war reparations from everything, but not resource rights, because we still use free trade. So resource rights would be lost. And finally, with the remaining points, we can also take everyone's navy. And that is it. We took everything. We still have a spare 3,000 points. Confirm. And there we go. Now it's time to pull ahead of Democratic USA. Until this point of the run, Democratic USA still had an advantage on us. But look at these. We almost have 1,000 factories now. And from now on, things are just going to get better and better for Fascist USA. We're just stronger. We're just better. Now, to show you what we conquered, it's better to use the supply map mod, because in this way you can see everything which is under our control, which is basically everything. It's quite insane, to be honest. But we are not done just yet. So we just have a couple more challenges ahead of us. Let's take care of them, and then we can consider this Fascist USA guide completed as well. We now have a huge navy here in Boston, and it is what we stole from the Allies, and we're going to split it into 2, but then we're going to use them right away. We want to send them to the Philippines, because Japan will attack us very soon. And before that happens, we want to have the fleet in here, or as close to Japan as close to the Philippines as possible, to protect the mainland Philippines from Japan. So let's send our fleets in here. At the same time, we're also going to send one defensive army, probably the one that was in Mexico, because it should be the closest, to the Philippines, just again in case to protect against naval invasions. As for what concerns our marines, of course we also need to use them, so we need to stop them from anything they are doing at the moment, and we need to start planning a naval invasion of Japan from the Philippines. We are going for groups of 6 in this case. We start from here and we go for the Nagasaki area. When you go for larger groups, you can click on several tiles and invade all of them with one army. So that's what we're going to do in here. And then we also need to send some planes. Again, we should probably have a lot of planes, especially after we deploy all of them. So you can send like fighters up here and the CAS down here. Then we're going to use them in there. Then we're going to prepare our tanks to push into Spain, and we want them to be assisted by one defensive army. So we're going to send one defensive army from the United States to the border with Spain. As for the last defensive army, we don't have much to do with it, but just in case, we're going to send them closer to the Soviet Union, which may be our next target if we decide to continue. And we will also start justifying a war goal on Japan. It's okay even if we are fabricating another one at the same time, because as you can see, it's still very short. Now, it may be that Japan attacks us before this happens, so may not even be needed, but just in case, we're going to do it. Now, we're going to prepare in terms of buildings as if we were going after the Soviet Union, which means we want full infrastructures in here. We want air bases basically along the entire front, but especially in the northern part of the front, something like here. And then I will also upgrade the railways in here just in case. Now, we need to make some changes with military production, because as you can see, we have a huge amount of military factories available. So we're going to bring the production of infantry equipment to 25. Support equipment, artillery, anti-air, trucks, trains, and flame tanks will all be to 5. C2 and F2 go to 75. And T2 and mechanized go to 150. Actually, I would give the priority to T2 over mechanized, but more or less something like this. We're going to adjust trade, of course. At this point, we can import everything from our puppets, so we're going to do that. And let's see what happens. But in July 1941, most likely Japan will attack us in any case, so hopefully we will be ready by then. If you have some extra political power, you can also grant all statehoods. We're going to do that now.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and by the way, we're also going to recruit some new armored divisions. We are going to make another 12 armored divisions. And then as we get enough army experience, we could already have enough. We're going to replace motorized with mechanized. Okay, we got our claim on Spain, but our tanks are in a bit of a transition phase, so we're going to wait for a little bit longer here. Actually, let me make sure about something. We want our main tanks to have the equipment before it's given to the units we are training. Okay, and Japan declare war on the Philippines, so we don't need to declare war on them, but we do need to defend the Philippines. Luckily, our fleet got there just in time, so we can now put them on patrol, probably, in the area. This way, we should be able to prevent Japan from actually invading us while our marines are getting there. And then as soon as they are in position, we can actually start this naval invasion. Okay, I'm happy to see that our tanks got the equipment, so now I am going to start recruiting another 12 armored divisions. Okay, we got everything ready for Spain, so let's go after Spain. And of course we need to call France in this case. And I think we can start this naval invasion as well. Except for a couple of them who got intercepted, we're fine. Okay, let's see how our naval invasion is going. The first divisions are getting to Japan. And we disembarked, which was the most important thing.
Move out.
We also need to take this harbor. This is quite important.
Attention.
But of course, can you guess where the division with no strength went? Of course to Nagasaki, of course. Luckily, Japan is a very easy invasion, so this will be easy. And by the way, at this point we could also import some oil, since we are struggling a little bit with fuel. I could have done this a bit earlier, to be honest. It would have been more beneficial, but we can do it now. By the way, I'm not playing this run particularly well. If you're watching the unedited version, you may notice. But this shows how good this strategy is. Even when I'm a bit distracted, not playing at my best, this still performs very well. All we get is just more casualties because... well, because the Navy didn't do their job, but also because I didn't pay particular attention to how we deploy the units. And like, I'm not pushing very well with the tanks down here. I'm not even checking what's happening. But again, the strategy is consistent enough to allow us some room for mistakes, which is great. Oh, and by the way, one thing that I forgot, and it would have been important to take, but again, I'm not playing at my best today. It's execute war plan orange. Of course, you should do this as soon as you declare war on Japan, or start a war against Japan, because it's going to help. That's why we researched it after all. Okay, Spain is down. Now, against Spain, since we called France, the peace conference can be a bit more annoying. I suggest you pass all the turns and then we just puppet Spain entirely. And if we can, we also take war reparations. You should be able to. And then you probably don't have enough points for the Navy, but that's okay because we already got what we needed. So now Spain is also our puppet. At this point, there isn't much else that we need to do with our tanks because Japan is just a formality at this point. We can prepare the tanks at the border with the Soviet Union and we can start training them again, just in case later on we go after the Soviet Union. And by the way, one thing, casualties in this case, because I didn't pay particular attention, I didn't play very well. But on the other hand, there is a good thing about them. They will increase a bit our war contribution at the end, our war score, which is good because China has most of it. So taking a little bit of it is actually quite convenient for us. So in this case, playing bad may actually be an advantage for you. Technically, if you wanted to extend the war a little bit, you might be able to. And you can just grind some of the soldiers for more combat damage. But I think it's just better to end the war faster. And then if anything, you can go after China if you want to take what China has. In any case, Japan is down. Now, in the peace conference against Japan, usually you can puppet the southern part of Japan, depending a bit on how it goes with the war score. In this case, I'm going to start with Tokyo. And then I will wait for China and see what they do. But yeah, usually we are able to take most of the mainland Japan. Then, as usual, I want Okinawa because that's where I want to go on vacation. I live in Tokyo. And let's submit demands again. And I think we are happy with this. Let's take war reparations if we can. Okay, so that's the end of the very fast peace conference against Japan. This is also the end of the guide, but let's see what we got. 1,106 factories. Now, this is where being fascist is a huge advantage. In terms of expansion, we didn't get much more than we got with the Democratic USA at this point of the run. The main advantage is we also got Spain, Ireland, and Iraq, Iran, which we couldn't get in the other guide, in the other run. Keep in mind that usually at this point you would also have Yugoslavia, Bulgaria, and Romania. We were just unlucky with that. But usually we would have them at this point. So we would have even more factories. And from now on especially, we can easily fabricate claims and expand even further. Guys, this guide for me was the most fun of the two. I mean, Fascist USA, when I started, the first time I tried, I went for the Civil War, and I thought, wow, this is terrible. We lose so much time in the Civil War, we cannot get anything done. Democratic USA is just so much better. But then I kept working on it. I looked for a strategy. I tried to find a strategy that could work with Fascist USA. And I found that this basically same strategy, but with turning fascist, offered the best results. Let me know what you think. I think this is maybe one of the best strategies without cheating for the United States if you want to go for a full world conquest. So I'm curious to hear your opinion. Let me know in the comments. And of course, if you enjoyed this guide, you know, a lot of work went into it. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It would really help. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.